Friends, no matter how good the path of crime may seem, the result is always bad. In this video, the person I am going to talk about is known as the most dangerous and richest criminal in the history of this world. His name was Pablo Escobar. He was born in 1949 in Colombia. His father was a farmer and his mother was a schoolteacher. He was born in a poor family. Since his childhood, Pablo was not interested in studies and wanted to follow the path of crime. He starts selling everything from cigarettes to lottery tickets. By 1970, Pablo had started stealing cars, kidnapping people and demanding ransom from them. He also worked for various smugglers and sells cocaine and other drugs. In the early 1970s, Colombia became a major market of cocaine. Cocaine was readily available in Colombia and many people, such as Pablo, sold cocaine openly. Friends, Colombia is located in the north of South America, in the middle Peru and Bolivia. And because of this geographical location, Colombia became the largest supplier of cocaine to the United States. About 70 to 80 tons of cocaine were smuggled from Colombia to the United States each month. The growing demand for cocaine in the United States has greatly benefited cocaine sellers in Colombia, including Pablo Escobar. Pablo discovered new ways to smuggle cocaine into the United States. He opened a shipment point on the island of Norman's Cay off the coast of the Bahamas. He, along with another partner, bought most of the island's land for pennies. The island was only 350 kilometers from the U.S. state Florida. Pablo used this route to smuggle cocaine into the United States. And soon, Pablo became one of the largest drug smugglers in the United States. Then he was started known as the Colombian drug lord. He bought large quantities of coca paste from Peru and Bolivia and then smuggled it to the United States. He built a magnificent house, a hotel and an entire warehouse on the island, where he stored cocaine, and from there he smuggled it to the U.S. state Florida. In 1982, Pablo entered in politics and was elected as member of the Colombian Congress, but his ill-gotten wealth began to be known. 2 years later, he had to resign from Congress. The minister who campaigned against him was assassinated by Pablo, and from here Pablo Escobar's terror spreads throughout the Colombia. His dream was to become president of Colombia, but when he realized that this would never happen, he shook Colombian politics. 3 Colombian presidential candidates, 1 attorney general and more than 1,000 Colombian police officers were killed by him. According to his own son, Pablo killed about 3,000 to 4,000 people. Pablo's special man was John Jairo, also known as Popeye. He was a hitman. Popeye kills and torture people for Pablo. Interestingly, Pablo also helped the poor to gain respect in the hearts of the people. People also called him Robin Hood because it helped people with money. But slowly people start getting aware from Pablo's reality. Friends, let me tell you something amazing things about Pablo's wealth. There was a time when Pablo became one of the 10 richest people in the world. In 1985, Escobar's wealth had reached to about $30 billion, which is equal about $57 billion today. Pablo had become the largest dealer of cocaine, not only in the US, but all over the world. It only smuggled $500 million of cocaine every day in the US. He had most of the money in the form of cash. He had to buy $1,000 rubber bands every week to put them on his money. He kept his cash in a huge warehouse and lost billions of dollars every year just because the notes were either eaten by rats or exploded by water. Friends, once he and his daughter stopped for camping in a forest and they ran out of firewood. Her daughter had a cold and Pablo had plenty of cash at the time, which his companions were carrying. Instead of looking for firewood, he set fire to about $2 million so that his daughter would not catch a cold. He had bought a ship just to carry the cash. The US government wanted to catch Pablo Escobar and repeatedly demanded to Colombian government to hand over Pablo to America. Pablo realized that he could be arrested and extradited to the United States at any time, so in 1991 he decided to surrender to the Colombian government, but on the condition that he will not be extradited to the United States. The Colombian government did not send him to a prison on Pablo's terms and allowed him to build his own prison, which was not less than a palace. But despite of living in such a luxurious way, his criminal thinking did not end, And he continued to work in the same prison to kill people and smuggle cocaine. All of this was done by his special person Popeye. When the government realized that Pablo was still doing the same thing, the government decided to send him to proper jail. Pablo Escobar found out about this beforehand. He and his colleagues planned to escape from his magnificent prison. Pablo managed to escape from this magnificent prison. After Pablo's escape, the Colombian government came under intense pressure. The United States and the Colombian government formed a joint team to arrest Pablo. They killed more than 300 of his comrades, but no one knew about Pablo. Friends, after 16 months of intense searching and spending millions of dollars, on December 2, 1993, Colombian police finally found Pablo Escobar's whereabouts. This is an event one day after Pablo's birthday, when Pablo was celebrating his birthday with drugs. But the man who delivered the drugs to Pablo was traced by Colombian police. Pablo was hiding in the area of Los Olivos, a middle-class barrio in Medellin, and at that time, he was talking to his son on the phone. According to police, he tried to fight and was killed in the fight. He had bullets in his legs and ears, but his son and his brothers have different view about his death. According to them, Pablo had committed suicide and he was not killed in the police encounter. Pablo's brothers said that Pablo himself had told them that he would commit suicide by shooting himself in the ear before being caught. People also say that the gun with which Pablo was shot was his own gun.